Good morning, everybody. We are on episode 7 of Money Matters, and it's just such an honor to be with these two gentlemen that I get to meet with each week for news. And by the way, for those of you that don't know our founder, Terry Gilliam, he people reach out to him, and Terry was just on a podcast. It looks like you already have 60,000 views, Terry. And good morning, Terry. How are you? What's this Hollywood liberal events after abandoning California?
Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, Greg Foreman has a YouTube channel called Black Conservative Perspective. He's got 800,000 followers. He reached out, saw an interview I'd done on TV in Fresno for a Fresno station, and reached out and wanted to talk to me about why people are leaving California. And we had a great conversation. He's a great guy, conservative, lives here in the South, so he wanted to talk about why those who are even the left is starting to leave California, which worries a lot of us. But that's what we discussed.
And for those of you out there, I just wanted to throw this up here too. Today we're doing an interview with Terry. I'm going to be talking to Terry. We're going to talk a lot of things about how he created the Leaving California, Life After California, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And so if you get a chance, you really need to tune into episode 37 of our Leaving California Freedom podcast. And of course, we have our expert, Monte Felts, and he's in the top 1% of lenders across the country. So I know that media and locals and a lot of important people ask Monte for advice, and we're very fortunate to have Monte each week on our Money Matters show, talking about what's going on with Money Matters, mortgages, and everything to do with buying and selling homes. So good morning, Monty.
Hey, morning, David. Great to be here.
So why don't you kick us off and tell us, well, let's switch it up a little bit. How about can we have some good news from the government, or is there not any money?
Oh, man. I mean, I thought this was Money Matters, not like Miracle Matters. No, there's always good news. Makes me think of John Krasinski and Some Good News during COVID. He made a conscious choice to look for the good. And so we all have that opportunity every week in this Money Matters show, in your daily life. You can focus on the good, you can focus on the bad. So we will focus on the good of what we do know from last week, what it meant, and where we're going. So first thing off the bat is the existing home sales really were slower, but speaking of that good news, the median home prices are at a record high. So what that means is the sales of existing homes, they fell about 0.7% in May to a 4.1 million unit annualized pace. So this is per NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and that's compared to the 1.4% decline the market was expecting. So this report measures closings on existing homes in May, and that likely reflects people shopping for homes in March and April that actually closed in May. That median home price, though, reached a record high of $419,300, which was up 3% month over month. That's crazy. And 5.8% year over year. So homes are worth it. This is great. Our values are going up. So being in the home ownership game is winning, just being in it.
Hey, Monty, I don't mean to interrupt, but I got really excited because what you just said kind of rang a very positive note in my head. Yeah. I have a client we're closing on Friday. Now, because I'm very aggressive as a realtor, I was able to negotiate and really fight hard to get her closing costs paid. And I got an amazing price on a home. She just sent me an email this morning and it said, David, thank you so much for getting me this home. She's got about a 6% appreciation already.
Wow.
So the deals are out there and people can win. And there's not very many buyers in the market. So when you're out there looking, if you have some patience and if you have the right realtor, you can come out really this is good news. And she was super excited. She's really happy that she's getting equity right off the bat. So can you touch on that a little bit, Monty, from your perspective?
Yeah, I would say not just can, but people are for sure winning being in the game. I have that phrase I always say, you got to be in the game to win the game. It's not about timing the market, it's time in the market. You got to get off the sidelines, you got to get in, and then people are winning just because they're in it. That appreciation is going to outweigh any sort of interest rates. And so the pace of those sales did decline again in May. Like that's what we're talking about. The existing home sales, it did go down, but the speed at which these homes are selling is continuing to accelerate. They're staying on the market for a shorter period of time. It was 24 average days in May compared to 26 days in April. So it's going faster. And this was wild. 30% of homes sold above the list price in May, which was compared to 27% in April. So I think we feel like people are getting houses below what they're listing for, but that's not what the data is showing us. The data is showing us homes are still going above the list price. So if you're thinking about listing your home in California to move, that's great. You should do it. Now's your chance. Catch this wave and ride it into another state where you can live your best life and also get that appreciation that we're seeing.
Hey, Monty, let me ask you real quick. So can you tell me again what the median home price was, the record median home price?
$419,300.
And just to clarify for people, median means that half the sales were under 419,000, half were over 419,000. So it's right there in the middle. It's not the medium. Right. It's not the average home price. It's what the middle price was of the houses that sold for less and the houses that sold for more. And so can you explain why you think inventory is dropping? I'm sorry, wait. Explain that again, how that works.
Inventory saw a boost.
A boost. How can houses be closing faster if there's more inventory, but yet the prices go up? Because it seems like if you've got more houses on the market, the price would actually drop. But can you explain why that wouldn't be the case?
Yeah, for sure. Let me give a little bit of background here. The inventory did see a boost. 1.28 million homes were available for sale at the end of May. That was up 6.7% from April. So we saw more houses available for sale. A lot of that is school got out, that sort of thing. It's seasonal, but still that's 18.5% from a year earlier. So this May versus last May, that's a big difference. So that remains below the healthy levels. We only have about 3.7 months of supply right now at the current sales pace. So that rising inventory is certainly a step in the right direction to help improve the ongoing supply constraints, because we still don't have enough homes. So although inventory saw a boost and we're getting more houses, we still don't have enough. We also saw that last week with the home builders saying that they have low confidence. They have poor outlook for the future due to less buyers being aggressive due to high interest rates, and they themselves, the builders, are struggling to get better rates on their building materials, not finding lots that they want. So we are still seeing constraint in that way, and that does affect things. The houses that are on the market though, which it sounds like we're getting more of them, they're going faster. Those buyers that are not on the sidelines, they're snatching it up quicker. I think some of it is you've waited 2 years, rates have been high, and eventually you're like, you know what? Who cares? Let's go. We got to move, babe. It's time to go. I've lived in this, I will choose my words wisely, this state, let's say. Yes, this state for too long. It's time to go. We're not getting any younger. It's now. So that's where I see people moving and making that great decision.
And I think that's another way that you're saying this, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is so important to all of our members and listeners that I have to bring it up every week, and I don't think I'm going to stop. I'm certainly not going to stop today. We have all of the armchair, what are those called? Armchair
quarterbacks?
Yeah, they're just sitting on the sidelines and they're saying, I know that the housing market's going to crash and home prices are going to go down 30-40%. And I know that the interest rates are, eventually going to finally come down. But Monty, you're the expert and you're the one that provides this data. There is no indications of any of that. And I love your advice of you saying you need to be in the game, not sitting on the sidelines, because you're not going to ever get an upside of real estate when you're just sitting there making these predictions. So sorry, but can you please just address that for our members again?
Yeah, you got to be careful who you listen to. Influence right now is more important than ever. If you think back to a time that somebody told you to do something and it didn't go well, and you imagine what if you had trusted your own brain to determine the evidence, I think you would find, like I do, that you're a pretty smart person. You know in your gut You have good intuition, so don't listen to the talking heads that are trying to benefit from selling fear to you. See what we're telling you week after week after week. All the people that David's helping close on houses, all these other realtors in leaving California that are helping people, they're success stories. You don't hear us coming on here telling sad stories. So the reason I share that with you is I want you to experience that too. It's there for you, but you have to take that first step and make the call to get that opportunity.
Thank you, Monty. That's great advice. And so sorry, but we're going to keep, we know your money matters. So it's so important to us to actually tell you what the facts are. We're not just, Monty's not sitting here saying, I think that, no, he's not talking like that. He's actually reading data. And Monty's got like 4 computers in front of him right now. So he's got tons of data, but let's continue on with the data. What other data do you have to share this week?
So just a little bit. And we like to talk about the unemployment because remember the Fed has that dual mandate. And so the unemployment, what we're seeing is we're watching the jobless claims. That's again, the time of the month we're in. So the initial jobless claims fell by 5,000 in the latest week. 238,000 people filed for unemployment benefits for the first time. I know that doesn't seem like a lot in 350 million people across the US, but that's still 238,000 people that had to go file for unemployment. The continuing claims, those people that continue to receive, it's 15,000. It went up 15,000. And so we're sitting at 1.83 million people are still receiving those after their initial claim of unemployment. So it did fall last week, but it is remaining at really elevated levels. That latest reading is the highest number of first-time filers in 10 months. So we're seeing that really move in a new way. Continuing claims are also still trending near some of the hottest levels that we've seen in recent years. So that's suggesting that the pace of hiring has slowed. The Fed is going to be watching this closely. We know they're looking for any rising trends in unemployment claims as they're weighing that monetary policy and timing for those rate cuts that we're all waiting for, because they have that dual mandate, like we always say, the price stability and the maximum employment.
If I get political, and I never get political, so Terry's buckling up back there in the background. He's like, oh no, David, please. We don't want to, there's an elephant in the room. Let's face it, guys, 3 more days. We've got a debate going on and it's big time. I mean, everyone's talking about it. This is going to be a big debate. And I know that Terry and Monty both have a crystal ball. And I was curious because my clients asked me this as well. Does the president have much, is there much that a new president could do, or the existing one who seems to think that the American dream really doesn't matter? And Terry, what do you think about this debate coming up? And hopefully there's some big changes coming up in our horizons, because American people, I think, are tired of the way things are, and we need some change. What do you think about that, Terry?
Well, I think, David, as far as the presidential election goes, I think California exodus is going to accelerate regardless of who wins. Here's why. Trump is going to come into office. He's going to cut regulation. California is going to say, hey, no, we're not drilling for oil in California. We're going to raise taxes. We're going to go even more green. We're going to do everything we can to fight what Washington is doing, which is going to do nothing more than take more money out of people's pockets in California and cause them to say, look at Tennessee, look at Texas, look at Florida, look at the South. It's thriving. People are thriving there. There's low regulation, low taxes. Let's get the heck out of California. If Biden wins the election, he's going to continue to increase the EPA regulations. He's going to continue to make the rest of the country look more like California, which is to raise the cost of living everywhere. However, it will be significantly less in the South than it is in California. California, it's almost in a multiplying effect. We'll say, oh yes, Joe Biden, we love more regulation. We love more taxes. Let's just jump on that bandwagon and continue going. And you're seeing people now starting to leave California that never considered leaving California because they just, whether it's regulation, whether it's new laws passed, whether it's crime, homelessness, everything else. And I think that's going to continue to accelerate. And you know what that means? That means that housing in the South is going to get more expensive, continue to get more expensive. They're going to have to continue to build more houses here. And it doesn't matter what the interest rate is. If you sell your $3 million house in California, you don't care how much your interest rates are. You're going to pay cash for a house in the South. Let me throw one more thing in there, David.
Go ahead.
So I live here in the Orlando area. My 19-year-old son, who's going to college, lives here. After next year, he's moving out, going to go live at a university somewhere. I think I might just sell my house and move further out because I can get a lot more house. I can get a brand new house. I went out to a Del Webb Pulte community because I know this is a shock, but I'm over 55 years old. I know, I'm glad everybody's sitting down. Actually, I'm 65. I don't mind. I don't feel 65, so who cares?
Yeah.
Went out to a Del Webb community. You know what they said? We can't build them fast enough. We can't build them. They're coming in droves and buying every house that we're building. So these places that are desirable in the South, in Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, all these places that are desirable for both retirees and also for families who want to live in freedom, there is high demand and people are buying them as fast as they're building them. So you're looking at, other parts of the country that maybe aren't thriving like the South is. If you're considering leaving California, going to the South, start looking. And Monty, here's what I'd like for you to do. Take a little segue here. People think that, oh my gosh, do I have to sell my house first before I can figure out where I want to move? Can you talk about your program where you can actually still own your house in California or elsewhere and actually still buy a house that you're going to live in, how that program works?
Yeah, absolutely. At a high level, you don't have to sell your house. We'll take that off your debt to income ratio. So that is one of the biggest concerns. People are worried about they can't qualify to go buy another house until they sell their house. So if that's your concern, I would tell you we have a way to eliminate that debt and let you qualify as if you're buying your very first house. You don't have another house that you have to deal with. If that is not your concern, if you know you qualify, it's more of a comfort level of, I don't want to have two houses. We have the ability to limit and eliminate those mortgage payments for 4 months, giving you 4 months to sell your house without having 2 mortgage payments. So either way, whatever your concern is, it's very doable. Then the third category of people, they say, I don't want to sell my house in California because I could rent it for a lot. I just don't know that I can really maintain 2 houses or that I would qualify. Well, yes, you will, because we have a way to take that rental income, count it against the mortgage payment in California, and you'd qualify to buy a house here as your primary residence. So I could go on and on with all the ways. Just know, I know how to get it done. If you will tell me what you want, I will make it happen. I am not a miracle worker, but we are about the closest thing to that in the mortgage space, figuring out what to do and how to help you get what you want. You only live once. You've got to get on with living now, where you want to be, doing what you want to do. Your kids are only going to be at home for so long. These are the days. Make it happen.
And Monty, I don't want to let you off the hook because this is big news. So what's your take on Terry shared how he feels about it. Is there a lot of weight in that, or is that because a lot of people are worried? A lot of people think that if Biden stays in, I won't be able to ever afford a home, and if Trump comes in, then maybe miraculously things will change. What's your take as an expert in lending?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. A few things that are important. One is to remember who is in charge and who is not in charge. So I think if you're a person that believes that God is in charge, then act that way and remember that every day. That no matter who the president is, they're not really in charge. Remember back to Obama when he got elected and everybody feared, oh no, that's the end, and we'll probably be taken over by the Middle East. Like crazy theories were out there. Well, that didn't happen. I'm not saying he was good for the country necessarily, but just remember what has happened before you get too worried about things. I would tell you the president has power and can make differences, as Terry said. I believe there is one candidate who believes he is unlimited in his power. I was on a phone call last night with one of my favorite people in the whole world out of Nashville, Tennessee, a guy with incredible real estate prowess. But what he reminded me of is God never intended you to have limits. And so I think we've got a candidate that believes that believes we can do anything. We can make America great again. We can do things and make it possible for everybody to win. I think we have another candidate who does not believe that, who is sadly limited and in bondage himself. And so there will be a very different America based on who gets elected, in my opinion, especially from a financial standpoint. I believe Trump has the business mind that very few presidents have ever had, at least in the past 100 years or so. So I think the country is a business. It needs to be run like a business. It doesn't need to be run by a politician. It needs to be run by a businessman that knows how to be profitable. Because at the end of the day, we're like a company. We need to be profitable to let all the citizens, all the employees, so to speak, in this analogy, be profitable. So I do believe that there is power in this. And so I don't know what's going to happen. I'm at peace with it either way. I'm going to wake up every day and do what I do, bless other people, help them buy houses. And either way, homes are appreciating. And you're going to win by leaving California and moving to one of these great places we keep featuring.
Yeah.
Amen.
And I always say that each week I like to give moving relocation tips. If you are interested, I've got some tips on how to pack your stuff up and how to organize that. And by having professionals help you, I mean, it really makes things a lot smoother. Imagine having a team of professionals like the three of us and then 10 others, and you have an army that you're utilizing, professionals that do this every day, not once every 5 years, that it's going to make a huge difference. So if you want, I can send you the list. I have a whole packet full of information on how to have a really smooth relocation. I would love to share that with you. Don't forget, today's going to be a really special episode of Leaving California Freedom Tour. Not Freedom Tour, but Freedom. And we're going to feature Terry Gilliam on that. And anything in parting, guys, that you want to share? There's a lot of news going on. There's a lot of people they got their hands in there, like, I don't know what's going to happen, what's going on. Hopefully each week when you guys tune in, we can calm you down a little bit. But it is it's crazy going on right now. Some of the stuff on the left, the right, in the middle, whatever. Terry, what do you got in closing?
Well, you just reminded me, David, I have probably moved in my lifetime 30 times. 40 times, I don't know, a bunch. I have never regretted a single move, not once. So by all means, if you're stressing about where you live, about what's going on around where you live, there's a great life out there. And I'm with Monty. I wake up every day excited that I get another day on this on God's green earth to do his will and go out there and make a difference. And whether it's with my family, whether it's with these groups, whether it's helping others. But it's important to wake up every day and know that if you're constricted, if you're not happy where you are, if you don't like what's going on at school or your job, things like that, there is a great life out there, and go find it. Let's go out there and we can help you find it. And I love having people like Monty working with us to help you get financed, get your finances in order so you can make that move. And then with David being our Las Vegas realtor, who can help any of the 40,000 people moving to Las Vegas every year from California. I love this partnership and helping people live a better life, because that's really, it's a lot more fun to go through life enjoying it rather than just being miserable.
Well, think about this. I forgot to mention this, Terry. You see behind me, this is the Tropicana, and they're demolishing it and they're moving it out. And so moving means, like Monty says, it's positive. They're going to take this hotel down. This Tropicana was here for 80 years, I think, 70 years, maybe 60. I don't know the number, but it's gone. And this was an icon in Las Vegas, and now it's going to be a baseball stadium. So Las Vegas is growing. If you're interested in Southern Nevada, you really need to give me a call. I would love to spend some time and talk to you. I'll show you around the different communities in our city. I would love to help you. And in closing, Monty, what do you got?
Yeah, I would just say that mortgage bonds and the 10-year treasury really traded all week last week in a wide range. So anything's possible. They're pretty much trading sideways. We're not seeing big up or down last week. However, this week we could. So we want to remain on guard this week because both of those are susceptible to really big price swings, either up or down. So we're gonna keep watch on that. We'll have more on that, of course, next week. We've got some important economic data coming in this week. The Fed's favorite measure of inflation, PCE, that personal consumption expenditures. We're going to find that out. We think that's going to come in lighter than the estimates, but more on that next week.
All right, guys, thanks again. And we'll see you in a few hours on our Freedom Show. And thank you guys so much for sharing your input. Terry, congratulations on being the resource nationally. People looking for more information about why are people leaving California. It's so cool to be your partner and to have you just continue to give out great information. Monty, every week you're giving out great information and facts. I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.